Shalom and welcome. This is Priest. Today's show, it might be a farewell show, but please continue to go and listen to all the psalms that are placed up. I only got to 8, and listen to the old videos that I've had placed up if they are made available to you. I want to talk about the darkness that we don't talk about that lingers all over the place, and the system that we have where we empower criminals not just within our community, but within all communities in this country, and it seems to be around the world. It's a pandemic. It's a real pandemic. That the devil has his hands in everything. The devil does everything that he or she can to stop God's people from shining, because the last thing the devil wants on this world or in this world is hope. The last thing they want in this world are beacons of hope. There's been legal programs in our country aimed towards stopping folks who incite a 4-letter word: hope. Another one: faith. And this war on hope and faith is something that has to be uprooted. I may not be able to do it, but I hope this video inspires other folks to do it, because until the devil, and whether the devil, you believe in the devil or not, if you live his or her ways, is allowed to be a cloud over folks, to be the main influencer over people, we're always going to have children shooting themselves. We're going to have young females being pregnant. We're always going to have people being homeless or feeling disenfranchised. We're always going to have war when there should be peace, because some folks don't know when to take a knee. And I'm not talking about Colin Kaepernick. I'm talking about the evil ones that continue on their rampage against God's people and against God himself, going against what the Most High has ordained for the highest and best and most of people. And there's a lot of folks who are under this influence and subconsciously don't understand that they're doing the devil's will. Now, the devil's supposed to be a tester, but when humans are involved in it, he gets to be a little bit more than just a tester. See, when the devil's allowed, and this is the key to it, when God allows the devil to test, that's all he allows. But when people, or when he is involved in people, he do a little bit more than that. He does a lot more than that. And these are the things that we have to uproot. These weeds that we call leaders, whether male or female, are perpetuators of evil. They're perpetuators of, I don't want to say ignorance, but you being ignorant is what empowers them. The greatest trick the devil has ever pulled was making the world believe he didn't exist. That means being the puppet master, and you not believing in his existence and guarding yourself from it. So when it comes to evolution in the elevation of the human, it's going to come down to humans who aren't quite elevated because of the systems that influence the systems that we've made, and the people who are influenced by that system. This is what I'm trying to tell you. The system of evil, of bitterness, of vindictiveness, of greed, of anger, of hate, of jealousy and envy. The 7 sins, and I probably said more, or I may have said less. But the problem is when those folks are empowered over you. Now, it's not a secret that I didn't really back 100% of what BLM was doing. That did not mean I did not understand our plight, because I've lived it. I've watched it. I've lost friends behind it. It means that there is a way to do things and a way to not do things. And all too often, because of the things that we feed our mind, we have so many people gravitating towards the lesser way of doing things. And it's sad, but when you're in that environment, it can influence you. I know this firsthand. And the devil will force itself on you, herself on you, him on you, whatever it may be, to bitter that heart and to harden it. And it's our jobs as the true 144,000, not these ones out here playing the game. It's our jobs as the true 144,000 to uproot these things. And does it mean to uproot people? It's to uproot thought processes. It's to uproot bad morals. It's to uproot bad habits. It's to uproot these things that take intricacies. It takes consistency. Something that we don't pay our government to do, and something that our parents have lost or have forgotten how to do. So when I speak, my words should be heard. But the system says you're not part of our system, and we're not talking about the government. We're talking about the system we don't see but we all feel. It says that you shouldn't be heard, that you shouldn't be a good influence. The system says, this satanic system that is influencing everything that's around us, this system says you should be like us. We're going to make you like us. This could be contributed to the Matrix if you want to use that frame, or that title, not frame. But it's time for folks to take control of their own lives, and for leaders who build institutions in such a way. I've been stopped from building mine, for some other folks to build it for themselves. Purely ego, and most of them, all of them, will be going down. Maybe not in this world, but in the spiritual world, in God's kingdom. Those will be judged for that. But when you are on their radar because they are being nosy and using spirituality wickedly, this is the real issue right here. They will use spirituality. The evil one will use spirituality and will use people to go after those without God's permission to go after. I say it again. The devil has to ask God for permission. But if he has a relationship with people, he doesn't have to ask God, because those people sold their souls. This is why it's very important you learn about spiritual wolves. And most of them are in leadership positions or power positions that affect all of our lives. And their goal is to build a replica of what the Most High has in store for you. The problem is, because of who they are and how they function, it will never come into true fruition, or will never be what the Most High has ordained. And because they know this, they want to harm those who know this. Haven't you noticed that things have changed a bit? It's because just a little bit of God's influence through God's people has touched some of them. The problem is, the crux of who they are will never change. And when folks' hearts are like this, it will never change. There are some folks that come after me who just don't want me to do me, because they want to do it, or they want someone else in their family to do it, or in their group to do it, or in their organization to do it. And this is why we have a capitalistic system. But this is why communism is evil. See, you don't understand that the devil runs a communistic system, and it's a hidden system. It's a system that, again, we don't see and most don't know about. And if they do know about it, they have a pretty face on it. because they intentionally go out and do PR for it. But the devil is the devil, and at the end of the day, the devil will always revert back to what he or she is, what the evil one has ordained them to be. There's been folks who've tried to beat the Christian out of me, and as soon as the stuff lights off, I'll go right back to who I'm supposed to be. And this is the eternal battle between good and evil. There's a lot of folks talking about chosen ones, chosen ones. I'm going to advise you to shut it down if you know you're not part of that. If you're working with this system that controls the government systems around the world, you are not that. You are not that. I've had folks enjoy robbing me of my spiritual teaching and giving them to folks who claim to be spiritual teachers and leaders. And you know why? For fame and fortune. Would they try to make sure it take effect? For more fame and fortune. But my question is why has the devil been empowered so much? How about the devil goes after people that are supposed to be on the bottom because they're supposed to be learning, and he elevates them to the top in their ignorance. This is why in the Garden of Eden we're supposed to eat wisdom, not power. This is why God was upset with the devil, because the Most High wanted to teach them morals, teach them how to be self-disciplined before getting power, because we all know that power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And this is why some of these systems who have unlimited power, it has corrupted a lot of them. Scratch that part off, but it's a fact. Some folks aren't born to have power because they have yet to learn how to control themselves when it comes to doing things in a proper way and in a proper order, and they constantly want to bicker and come against God and what God has for them because they refuse to accept correction. Something that us leaving the garden was a moment of correction. This whole time that we've been going through all this stuff, which we'll call the Dark Ages, I guess this is what they will call it. The whole time we've been going through this stuff, we have not learned one thing about correction. At least those leaders who are, don't bite the hand that feeds you. You don't feed anything, you steal. So I'm sitting here, I'm doing a lot of these videos, and I'm sorry, I'm going to go back and just, because I'm going to close it out. I don't want this to be over 15 minutes. I'm doing these videos to help you. All right? And it's part of my job. It's what makes me happy. It's what makes me fulfilled. But when you have an evil system that what makes them fulfilled is stopping you from being fulfilled as a person, which your job is to help fulfill other people's personal needs and desires, there's systems that we have here that just don't have the capacity for that, or have the ability to go on an intricate level and deal with people, and they need to accept that. But as long as the devil is influencing, I have to get power, I have to be famous, I have to do this, I have to do that, or my false god, right, which is probably some person over top of them, or some people they're trying to impress, idols, won't respect me. Some of this stuff that we see going on here is about ego, and it's a weed that needs to be uprooted. So, to close this out, I normally give a speech on discernment. I normally give a speech on going to church and things of that nature. You all know these things. All I'm going to say is do it. Do it for yourself. Do it for your child if you have children. Do it for your neighbor. Work on you becoming a better person, and let that action be infectious, not what we see on TV, not what we're forced into. Let that action of you becoming better inspire someone else to become better, not the fact that you sat around in a group of people groaning and moaning about this woman did me wrong or that man did me wrong. I've been there. It is the ghetto of emotional places to be. And we can't live that way going into these new ages, going into these new times. We have to make a decision of, above all things, to do the right thing. And when you make those decisions and you consistently try to, we're never going to do the right thing all the time. We're human, we're imperfect. But when you accept that we are imperfect, then you can work on becoming perfect. This is Priest. There is a spiritual war in the minds and hearts of people going on right now. And it's up to us, chosen 144,000, to sow these seeds of awareness. I'm going to talk about a book if I have a chance. I'm going to talk about a book that we all need to read. I've listened to it. If you want to listen to it, you can listen to video audios and things like that now. But there's things that we need to do that the devil has people in power, right? You may not even see them, that get in the way of that. This has to be uprooted. These things have to be uprooted and exposed. When you pull a weed up and you expose its roots to the sunlight, it shrivel up and die. You don't leave no root. You don't leave any roots in the ground, because it'll spring back up. And this is that reaping season. Now again, we're not talking about going out harming people. We're talking about putting light in the darkness. Again, this is Priest. Shalom.